Divorce sucks. It is one of the most stressful and mind-numbing things a couple is going to go through when they come to the determination that it's time to split the assets and part ways. It's even more so when real estate is involved. So I have 5 tips for selling a house during divorce in Wisconsin. By the way, my name is Chris Dietz with Dietz Estates by Realty, and I am a certified real estate divorce specialist, and I'm here to be a resource for you and your spouse during the difficult time you may be going through right now. My contact information is always down in the description down below. You can call, text, email, or even book an appointment right under my calendar and then block off your time. We'll get to work. Now, as I said, I have 5 tips for you. So we're going to start off with, of course, number 1, work with a neutral third party. What does that mean? Well, if you're looking to sell your home, you're going to need a third party who's unbiased and can help you through the process. That means you're looking at like a real estate agent, obviously, right? Or a real estate attorney, depending on how you want to go about it. It's important that you want to keep your emotions in check. That's probably the hardest thing to do during divorce. Is emotions are running high, nobody wants to agree on anything, and it's usually a lot of infighting and things just aren't moving forward. It's always important to have those objective third parties who aren't going to be biased to one spouse or the other. And it helps get the process rolling so everybody's on the same page, you're all communicating with the attorneys, everything's working the way it's supposed to. Important tip number 2 for selling your house during divorce in Wisconsin is deciding on an acceptable price. You got to approach it objectively. You want to consider factors such as the current market value and repairs that may need to be done to the property before listing or selling, and any debts or liens on the property such as your mortgage or any home equity lines of credits you may have taken out, or anything else that could have a lien on the property that could take away value from the proceeds when it sells. And with that, we'll roll into tip number 3. Be prepared for negotiations. Let's face it, both parties will have a different idea of what the fair value of the home is going to be. And we want to approach things with an open mind and willingness to compromise. This is going to be especially true once you do have a buyer, because they're going to have their process, and it's going to maybe require some negotiations there too. So it's easier for all on the same page. We all understand what needs to happen, how we're going to approach that, and what we can negotiate and make it fair for everyone. Let's roll into tip number 4. It's consider the tax implications. When you sell a home, there's going to be tax consequences. That's just inevitable. It's going to happen. A tax professional may be needed, which means that's going to be another person that has to come in and work as part of this team that you're trying to create for getting this home sold, to determine how much capital gains you may end up having to pay. Now, there is some benefits here and some disadvantages depending on how much it sells for. If it's a very large purchase home, the capital gains tax are going to be much, much higher, depending on how much it sells, right? So then you have to look at things on the other side, is that both of you, depending as long as certain as long as certain criteria are met, you will qualify for deductions on your tax returns. So both of you will qualify those because you both lived in the home for a certain amount of time, as long as it was in the last, I think it's 2 of the last 5 years, if my memory serves me correctly. Always check with a tax professional on that to be sure. There are factors such as length of ownership and if it was used as a primary residence. So if it says like a secondary home you guys are selling and you haven't lived there, those 2 out of 5 years, according to the IRS guidelines, that's not going to cut it. So that's just going to be capital gains. There's no getting out of that. So always consult a tax professional. Be prepared for the capital gains taxes that you may have depending on the value of the home, and maybe the tax benefits you guys will have once it's all said and done, depending on factors there. So always check the tax professional. And last but not least, we got tip number 5, and that's to take care of any necessary repairs. It's important to take care of any repairs that need to be done before going to market, so it's not a surprise later on an inspection report when the buyer asks for a credit or asks for repairs to be done. It's better to take care of them beforehand so that going into it how much you're going to be getting net proceed wise, so that we know how that has to be divided according to whatever the divorce decree may say. It also increases the value, and it makes the home more attractive to potential buyers, which could lead to a higher price point, which means more money that can be split, or whoever is going to gain the home will get their fair share of it. Let's face it, divorce is tough, and I've been through it, so I understand. But if you follow these tips, it'll help make that process a little bit smoother as far as the house is concerned. Always consult your attorney and a tax professional and your real estate agent if you're working with one to make sure that you're all on the same page and that everybody's being communicated with and that there's no misunderstandings. That's one of the best and extra tips I can give you is always communicate and make sure that everybody involved in the legal process so that when it comes time to present this all to the court that everybody's agreed and the court doesn't block it. And I hope you found these tips helpful and that they're making your home selling process during divorce in Wisconsin a little bit easier. If you have any further questions, you can always reach out to me. My contact information is down in the description down below. You can feel free to call, text, email, or even book an appointment on my calendar. We can discuss your needs and see if there's something I can do to help you in your process of selling the home during divorce. Aside from that, I hope you found this information helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next video.